If menopause has ever felt random, disconnected, or like they change the rules every week, well, this episode is going to give you a piece of the puzzle that most women never get. Because today, I'm not just talking about hot flashes or hormones. I'm going to show you how your gut plays a direct role in menopause symptoms, including hot flashes, brain fog, mood swings, inflammation, weight gain, and why so many women feel like nothing fully works once this transition begins. Well, in this episode, you are going to learn why treating menopause symptoms one by one often fails, how the gut influences estrogen metabolism in ways that most women have never been taught, and why supporting your gut can change how intense and unpredictable menopause feels. Now, if you've been doing all the right things, but you still feel confused, dismissed, or frustrated, well, stay with me. By the end of this episode, you will understand why these symptoms feel connected, what your body's been trying to tell you, and what actually supports this phase of life without extreme diets or guesswork. I'm Tafiq Akhir, Mr. Menopause here, and welcome to the Mr. Menopause Show. Okay, let's start with the part that no one explains clearly enough. See, most women, well, they're told that symptoms happen because estrogen drops. Well, that statement is true, but it's not the whole truth. Estrogen does not just simply disappear, it is a process. It's circulated, metabolized, and eliminated. And one of the most important places that process happens is in the gut. Inside your digestive system lives a massive ecosystem of bacteria known as the microbiome. With that microbiome is a specific group of bacteria called the estrobolome. Now, the estrobolome, it helps to regulate how estrogen is metabolized and whether it's eliminated from the body or reabsorbed back into circulation. Now, this matters more than most women are ever told. See, your liver processes estrogen and it sends it into the digestive tract to be eliminated. Now, when the gut is healthy and balanced, well, estrogen moves through efficiently. When the gut is inflamed, sluggish, or out of balance, well, estrogen can be reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. Now, that reabsorption contributes to hormone fluctuations that intensify hot flashes, night sweats, breast tenderness, mood swings, headaches, and systemic inflammation. This is one of the reasons that two women with similar hormone levels can have completely different menopause symptoms. One gut is supporting balance, the other is quietly creating turbulence. Now, I've worked with women who felt like their symptoms made no sense. They were eating well, exercising, they were managing stress as best they could, but their bodies felt unpredictable and reactive. But once we addressed gut health in a supportive, non extreme way, symptoms began to soften. Not because hormones magically fixed themselves, but because the body's systems finally started working together. And this is an important shift in understanding. See, menopause is not just how much estrogen you have, it's about how your body processes what estrogen is left. See, once you understand that, then the next question becomes obvious. What happens when the gut is not functioning well during menopause, right? Well, this is where many women feel confused because gut imbalance does not always look like obvious digestive trouble. Yes, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea can happen, but during menopause, gut issues often show up in ways that feel unrelated at all. Mood swings that feel sharper or more sudden, brain fog that affects confidence and focus, anxiety that appears without a clear trigger, sleep that feels light and unrefreshing, and of course, weight gain that feels resistant to your usual efforts. Now, when the gut microbiome is out of balance, a state known as dysbiosis, it affects neurotransmitter production, inflammation, insulin sensitivity, and cortisol regulation. See, most serotonin, which is the neurotransmitter associated with mood stability and emotional resilience, well, it's produced in the gut. And when the gut is struggling, mood regulation often struggles too. Inflammation is another key piece. An unhappy gut increases systemic inflammation, which plays a role in joint pain, fatigue, metabolic slowdown, poor sleep, and cognitive changes during menopause. And this is why so many women say everything feels connected, but no one explains how. See, I remember working with a woman who said, I don't feel sick, but I don't feel like myself either. right? Her digestion was inconsistent, but what really bothered her was the emotional volatility and mental fog. She thought she was losing her edge. In reality, her gut health had been deteriorating quietly through years of stress, restricted dieting, and disrupted sleep. Menopause simply turned the volume up. Now, once those signals are recognized, the solution is not restriction, it is nourishment. See, this is where many women expect an overwhelming list of foods they can never eat again. This is not what supports gut health long term, and especially during menopause. Supporting your gut during menopause is not about perfection, it's about consistency. Your beneficial gut bacteria thrives on diversity. Fiber from vegetables, berries, legumes, nuts, seeds, and whole grains, well, they feed the microbiome and support estrogen metabolism. Prebiotic foods like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, bananas, well, they help to grow beneficial bacteria. Fermented foods such as yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and miso, they introduce helpful microbes into the system. Now, this does not require a complete overhaul. I've seen meaningful changes happen when women simply add supportive foods instead of obsessing over what to remove. One fiber rich food per meal, one fermented food per day, no punishment, no extremes, just steady support. Now, at the same time, it's important to understand what quietly undermines gut health. Artificial sweeteners and ultra processed food, well, they disrupt microbial diversity and increase inflammation, even when they are marketed as healthy or diet friendly. This is not about fear, it is about awareness, by the way. So, if a food consistently leaves you feeling bloated, foggy, inflamed, or drained, your body is telling you, it's offering feedback. Food is powerful, but it is not the only lever, just so you know, because the lifestyle plays an enormous role in your gut health, especially during menopause. Chronic stress alters gut bacteria composition and increases gut permeability. Poor sleep disrupts insulin sensitivity and worsens inflammation. Overtraining raises cortisol, which directly impacts digestion and hormone regulation. See, I often see women doing intense workouts 5 or 6 days a week, eating clean and feeling worse instead of feeling better. Not because they lack discipline, but because their bodies need something different now. Menopause changes recovery needs. Rest becomes therapeutic. Gentle consistency often works better than consistent intensity. But movement still matters, right? Walking, strength training, mobility work, and moderate cardio all support gut motility and microbial diversity when done consistently. Mind body practices such as breathing, meditation, and yoga, it calms the nervous system and improves digestion through the gut brain connection. Environmental exposure matters as well. Pesticides, plastics, and harsh chemicals place an additional stress on the gut and liver. Small changes, such as choosing glass over plastics when possible and washing produce thoroughly, can reduce that load over time. And with all this information, the goal is not to overwhelm you. The goal is clarity, right? Because supporting your gut during menopause, well, it does not require a complete life overhaul, as I've mentioned. It starts with simple, sustainable habits that you can do. Begin your day with fiber and protein to stabilize blood sugar and support digestion. Hydrate consistently throughout the day. Eat without rushing when possible and chew thoroughly. Move your body daily as well, even if it's just a walk. Protect your sleep as a foundational health practice, but not as an afterthought. Targeted supplements also work, such as probiotics or digestive enzymes, which may be helpful for some women, especially those with persistent digestive symptoms or a history of antibiotic use. Those are tools, not cures, by the way, and they work best when paired with supportive habits. And when systems persist or worsen, that's not failure, that's information. Seeking professional guidance is not weakness, it is actually wisdom. And there is something important that I want to acknowledge here because if this conversation about the gut has felt eye opening, it's likely because you're finally hearing menopause explain the way that your body actually experiences it, right? Not as isolated symptoms, not as random failures, but as a whole body transition. The gut is just one example of how menopause shows up across systems. It's not the only system affected, but it is often the one that reveals how connected everything truly is. Digestion, mood, sleep, inflammation, metabolism, brain clarity. When you understand the gut's role, you begin to see why menopause can never be reduced to hot flashes alone. This is exactly why I created my book, Decoding the 80 Symptoms and Side Effects of Menopause. See, over the years, I kept seeing women struggling, not because they lacked effort, but because they lacked context. They were chasing solutions without ever being given the full picture. They were being told that their symptoms were unrelated, when in reality, they're part of the same physiological story. In the book, each symptom is decoded with the same lens: what it is, why it's happening, what system is involved, what your first steps can be, not to overwhelm you though, but to remove the fear that comes from not knowing. The gut related symptoms like bloating, digestive changes, inflammation, weight shifts, brain fog are all addressed within that broader framework. So nothing feels random or disconnected again. Now, if you're listening to this episode before January 12th, the book is available for pre sale now. Pre ordering simply ensures that you have a comprehensive, clear resource in your hands the moment it's released so that you're not left piecing information together from scattered sources. Now, if you're tuning in after January 12th, the book is available now. Because this information is not something women should have to wait for once symptoms are already affecting daily life, make sure that you get your copy ASAP. But either way, the intention is the same: to help you understand what your body is doing, why it's doing it, and how to respond with confidence instead of confusion. Education does not replace medical care, by the way, it strengthens it. And when you understand symptom patterns, you know what to prioritize. And when you understand menopause as a whole body transition, you move out of survival mode and into strategy. This episode gave you one important piece of that puzzle. The book simply helps you to see the rest of it clearly at your own pace and without pressure or panic. Clarity is not about doing more, it's about finally understanding enough to do what actually works. Menopause is not just about hormones declining. It's about systems adapting. And when your gut is supported, hormone regulation, mood metabolism, and resilience improve together. Understanding changes everything. Clarity replaces self blame, strategy replaces guesswork. And if this episode helped clarify what has been feeling confusing or disconnected, I want you to keep that clarity moving forward. If the gut conversation made you realize how much menopause has been affecting your mood, your focus, and emotional well being, well, I recommend watching my episode on how to reset your mental and emotional health during menopause. It builds directly on what we talked about today and helps explain why brain fog, anxiety, irritability, and emotional shifts are not personal failures, but physiological changes that can be supported once you understand what's happening. The link is in the description for this episode. Listen, clarity changes how you move forward, and you deserve that clarity. Until next time, stay safe and be well.